It's good to see you guys. The film was humbling. It's frustrating to relive. There's good things in there. They're hidden. I wish they would be more out in front. I thought the improvements are hard to see, but as coaches, we can see them, and we've got to build off off of those little improvements. I think a lot of the plays were really close, especially defensively. It was blitzing off an edge and getting up the field as opposed to staying on the line of scrimmage and condensing a gap. We run up the field and create a bigger gap. It's we're fitting everything, and we're instead of a right shoulder, we're hitting it with a left shoulder. And there's these things that we've worked really hard to correct, and we're really close. And it's frustrating to see it. I think offensively, you go back, you look at the game, and you look at the opportunities that we had to make plays, and we have to capitalize on those opportunities, especially early in the game when we're looking to see, is this going to be different? Is it going to be the same? And we have those opportunities. We have to make hay on them. And so with all that said, the ability to kind of build it back up, and starts with the coaches and getting the coaches ready to build back up the players. And, that's the task that's ahead of us. I know for me that to continue to build on the positive things that we're doing, and to see them and to speak into the efforts that guys are making, even amidst failure and frustration and all of it. For the guys that are really, really trying, and the guys that are really making effort, want to recognize and build off of them. And I feel like we were able to do that in this last game. We need more guys to do it so we can get a victory. Have a lot of respect for Coach Holgerson, and looking at this team, just really talented, and a quarterback that can throw it, and the one-on-one matchups. They force you into single high, and then they've got all the single high beaters, and they've got receivers on either side. They can beat you one-on-one. If you are not playing really gap integrity with your rush, he can scramble. There's a fair amount of quarterback run game, quarterback counter and the like, that really puts people into bad spots. And then you're looking at defensively, leading up or in the beginning of the year, a lot of man, a lot of 4-2-5, and then going into Texas, they flipped around a whole identity and played a defense similar to what we just saw on Saturday with the 5 DBs and the U structure. And so there's been a few different looks that defensively they've shown. And so we've got to prepare for a little bit there. But what a challenge it's going to be. We're looking forward to getting back into the win column, and know it'll be a tough one versus a talented Houston team. Take any questions you guys got.
Dave, last year Richard Reese was such a big part of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
This year, last 3 games he's had a total of 9 carries. Is there a reason that he isn't getting in the rotation as much, and do you see him, being part of the offense, a bigger part in the future?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I do. I think his strengths so far this year has been his ability in space to make plays, his ability on the perimeter to make plays, and I think in the interior run game, I think the work has been on getting yards after contact. So if the offensive line gets me 2 yards, let's get another 2, or get another yard on my own. And so that's been, I think, where he's been really working hard to improve. I think the blocking on the perimeter has to improve so that Rich can do his thing. And so that's been, 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Dave, kind of going on that offensive note,
Mm-hmm.
Blake, kind of his progression throughout these weeks, is it kind of weighing on him? Do you think, putting up points late, but maybe those slow offensive starts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought that that where Blake was able to really make some big connections, kind of like you say, late in the game. I think early in the game there were some opportunities for balls to be caught and for there to be runs after catch, and we just didn't complete the play, And I think that falls on us as coaches. That falls on me, and finding the appropriate drill and the appropriate motivation so that we can get that done, when it matters. And the start of the game is just so critical, I feel, for us to not be in a hole, for us to not try to have to come back, but to put points on the board early, and people feel that, hey, this is finally us. Here we go. All right, this is our time. I think that's a really strong feeling when you can get that going. Now, we've felt that in the third and fourth quarters. We have to be able to get that going in the first. But I think Blake has been one of our more consistent guys. And so I think building up the consistency around him is part of our task.
Dave, is there enough there to, I think you mentioned something in the postgame about, hey, guys, this play is here. And you mentioned early on that, it might be one guy. Mm-hmm. Is there enough there to say, hey, look, if we do this one thing or if we do this right, we can be a lot better. We can make plays, that kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that. That was the message to the staff this morning with our meeting a little bit earlier, was that for sure, right, the negatives and the noise and to recognize that and all of it, for sure, that's there. But when you look at the tape, it's, we're so close on so many things. I think, I told him I had a philosophy professor that told me that for every fact, there's at least double the nuance. And, I think early in the season, there would be, let's just say, facts that we would get wrong. We're in the nuance part now. And so I think a lot of the, there was not a lot of confusion, there hardly any in this last game. Guys were where they need to be. Guys all knew what I'm doing, what everyone else is doing, and there was togetherness with all that. It's just when the play comes to us, we got to make it, And so I can help with that in creating more of those opportunities in practice, and the pressure that comes with that, and getting higher levels of competition, and so that jump from practice to games isn't so much. But when you watch the film, that's what it is. We're really close. So if it's kind of digging yourself out of a hole, we can see the light as coaches. And so we've got to be able to get that across to the players, because I know that, the other side of it can be pretty dark.
Dave, when KRON went down, did the offensive approach need to change at all, and what's KRON's status moving forward?
Appreciate that. Yeah, so KRON, Tevin, Williams, and Tate Williams all had head injuries, and so it doesn't look promising right now. I can't say for certain that they're going to be out, but it looks like they're probably going to be out. We'll know more tomorrow. Yeah, I think we had to get Armani Winfield into the game, and I think some of the things that we were moving KRON around a lot, we had to scale back from. It's not that Armani couldn't do those things; it's just that he didn't have all those reps throughout the week, or as many as Tron did. And so moving forward for this one, we'll have Armani fully operational in all of those looks.
What kind of response do you expect, looking at Houston, what kind of response do you expect from them, knowing that they probably want to get kind of back up off the mat after their last game?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I expect a strong one. There is a lot of talent on that team, and they're fast, and they play physical. One of the things for us defensively is tackling and eliminating yards after contact, and one of the best in our league is Houston, and so there's a bunch of at yards after contact, and so there's a bunch of challenges that they present, and when they're fully engaged and in a fight and all of it, they're as dangerous as any team in our league with the playmakers that they have. And so it's really important for us to start fast and to be connected. And we talk about all this, do your 1/11th is way strong with them, especially with the misdirection that they have. Very similar to the early in the season. There'll be runs going this way and quarterback counters going this way. And so if you're on this side of it, you're playing that. If you're on that side of it, you're playing something else. And so that discipline is going to be really important.
Coach, you were saying that the execution has always been a problem. Do you feel that the injuries that have been happening all season are a factor of that because the lineups aren't consistently the same every week?
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think it's part of it, but I'm never going to lay it just at the feet of that. I just think it's something that we're fighting through. I think it's great opportunities for some of our younger players and players that have worked hard and have really strived to get opportunities. Now they have one, and so that enthusiasm and that coach me coach and all of that is way cool, and I think it helps motivates guys, coaches too, and so I think there's good and bad that comes with injury. We've got a fair amount that have had surgeries throughout this year, and so that some of them have lost their seasons, and that's all their eligibility, and so that they're finding out that their identity isn't fully that as a football player like they thought, and so there's a whole bunch there. But I think for us as coaches to kind of try to guide guys through that, and having experienced that ourselves as players, but also just having probably a bigger, broader perspective, I think is kind of our role, and to make the most of it.
Go ahead.
Dave, obviously you're trying to get off to better starts. Does that become a psychological hurdle after a while, after so many times?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's true with anything, really. And, it's true if something's going good, then you just kind of feel like there's that confidence behind you. When you don't have it, you start kind of looking for any cracks in the walls, And so I felt really good going into it. I thought, we had a really good pregame and warm-up and all of it, and I think these are things that were needed, these little adjustments that we made, and thought that first play of the game was a really solid run and physical and executed well, and we had some good momentum going into it. Just got to capitalize, and I think we're close, and so to keep it where that's the view that we're close. Look at the improvements that we've made, despite all of it. Right? Here's the improvements. Not quite there yet. Pound the rock. Let's get there. I think that's where it's got to be.
Dave, talking about pounding the rock, back to the run game for a second. So when y'all are going into a game, how much do y'all look at like, okay, we think we can run, 45% of the time versus 55% passing, or 60-40 or whatever, and then how much does that maybe adjust during the game based on what's working, what they're showing, all of that?
All the time, yeah. I think 2 weeks ago, the aim was to not run a lot, and then this one, it was, there's angles that are presented with this defense in terms of edges that we thought we could take advantage of. I think that very first play was an example of that. I wish that was more consistent throughout the game. But when it wanes, then the throw game, whether it's the three-step or the screen game, kind of builds up. We had a few more gimmicks in this game, some that hit and some that didn't. And so, the idea would be, let's try to run it, because you'd like to have the balance. But if we're not having it, what we don't want to do is continue with something that's not getting us positive yards.
Coach, obviously you want to win every game, but from here on out, it's going to take winning 3 of the next 4 to make that bowl appearance. Is that something that's talked about a lot with your guys? How are they kind of looking at that task ahead?
Appreciate that. No, they are. I think it is important for us to make that run, and we have that within our abilities. And with all due respect to all of our opponents, we have to play better, and we have to start the game better, and we've got to be able to make the plays when they come to us, and we've got to be able, as coaches, get them ready to start faster. And so all those things are at the front of our mind. And with that being said, it's one at a time. And what an opportunity Saturday versus a talented Houston team till we can start this run.
Dave, Byron Bonds had a big game in Cincinnati. What have you seen from him and just the impact he's made on defense?
Appreciate that. Yeah, he is way energetic. We have at the start of the fourth quarter, we'll have a player we'll call up and talk to the team, and that's been BV a couple times. He has that inside of him. There's an edge and an energy in there, and when he talks, people listen because of how hard he plays. And he is a very hard practice player, gives great effort. I think this was probably the most consistent that he played in this last game. In the past he would, play really hard, maybe not in the spot that he needed to be, but going 100 miles an hour. And in this one, he was where he needed to be, going 100 miles an hour. And so that's credit to him and Caleb Collins and those guys. But he's getting better and better and better. And I think, school-wise, he's doing good. I think there's, it's cool to see the impact that Baylor can have on people. And BV's an example of that.
Coach, last year you said y'all try to get the team back for Halloween, kind of let them regroup, get to spend time with their families. Is that kind of the same thing you all are doing this year? What are your plans? I don't know, just something to watch.
I'm going to try to stay inside the house as best I can, and we're trying to work it out to where my wife can hand out the candy. But that was the plan last year, and it didn't work, so I'm anticipating that I'll be handing out candy. But we're going to let everybody out early, and so have a Tuesday practice and then get home. We've got so many babies on this, our coaches with little kids, and so many of them. And so I know that to have an evening with them and be able to try to get our minds off of some of this too, I think would be healthy, and enjoy it with their families. And then we're going to be back pretty early on the Wednesday morning to make up for some of it.
What's your favorite candy?
Yeah, well, I'm a big I'm in chocolate, so I like peanut butter too. So probably Reese's Pieces would probably be it. It's kind of addicting.
Is that what you're handing out?
I'm very much gonna fight not handing out any candy.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you guys.